Hello? Hello? Is anybody there? Hello? Is anybody there? Hello? What? Is somebody there? Hello? Is somebody there? Hello? Hello, 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 hello. Welcome. Happy Monday. You'll notice somebody's missing. That's Mark. Mark's gone. Mark can't be here tonight. He actually was second shooting a wedding on Sunday and then had to work on Monday and told me he was basically going to be just too exhausted to hang out tonight, which I totally get. So just me hanging out with y'all tonight. Hope you guys can put up with that. Hello, Wayne and Frank and Steve and Harley and Mike and Sonia and Amanda and Tim, who's hanging out and doing the floor. And Elaine is also here. I hope I'm not missing anybody. I think I got all you guys. So hello and welcome. Mike says, Spyros, one of your best teaching points was to review portfolios in class. We really got to see individualized style and technique and personality. Yeah, I want to approach that again somehow. Through videos, like maybe doing portfolio reviews or something like that. But it's something that I haven't done yet just because it's a little bit harder to do in this sort of way than it was in that class environment, which was more structured. But I agree. Like, I think it was a really, I think it's those kinds of things are really valuable for people to learn from. Hello, Harry. Harry's here as well. And Brenda. Hi, Brenda. How are you tonight? So we've got some photos. We've got a bunch of photos already, which is fabulous. And we should probably take a look at them. But I was going to ask if you guys, I know Elaine, Elaine, I know you're in on the iPad train with me. Who else here is on the iPad photo editing train? Let me know, because I have something that I'll maybe announce tonight if it makes sense to do so. If not, I'll just hold on to it, but I'm just curious. And I'll ask again later, because not everybody's probably here yet. Hello. We could link ahead of our time to our online portfolios. Yeah, that's a possibility, Frank. Maybe we could do a show where we do portfolio reviews rather than individual photos. We wouldn't be able to do as many, though. That would be one of the things that we'd have to consider, is how many reviews could we do in like an hour or 2 hour period. These shows with the number of photos that we get lately have been running up more closer to 2 hours. And yeah, it's a possibility. It's certainly something that I have been thinking about and wanting to do. God, look at my beard. I need to get this thing trimmed. It looks like I'm a crazy person with this crazy beard. That would be a 10-hour show with portfolios. Exactly, right? So that's why we'd have to select like a certain number of portfolios that we would do during the show, which of course, you know, you wish you could do everybody, but sometimes you just have to, you know, you have to do something like that and make a decision and figure out a way to do something like that. So we'll see. We'll consider something like that. All right, so we should get into the photos. And while I'm getting into the photos, you guys should tell me what you were up to this past weekend. How did you spend your time? Did you get out there and take some damn photos? What were you up to? I did a couple of things. One, on Saturday, I actually took a day off, which is something that I don't do nearly as much as I should. I didn't do any work. Like, I didn't do any video work at all. I didn't think about YouTube. I didn't, you know, I just relaxed. I read. I did edit a couple of photos, but I wanted to because that was fun. And yeah, you know, it was really, really nice. And then Sunday I did do some work, but it was still a really nice day and a really wonderful weekend. I had a really nice time. So I hope you guys had a great weekend as well. All right. Yes, Elaine, I know you, I introduced you to it and I got you to buy an iPad, which I still sometimes am a little bit amazed about. But I mean, I guess when I do stuff like make YouTube videos and people watch them, it's I guess that technically makes me an influencer, right? Although that's an awful term. I hate that term. So Elaine, yeah, you had a long, really wonderful holiday. Brenda, editing 4th of July photos and working. Awesome. Frank says, I have been thinking about it, but don't want to feel that I have editing all the time. Keeping it at home would prevent me from working all the time. See, that's a really good point, Frank. I wanted the iPad for the ability to edit anywhere, but I also, for me, editing isn't working. Editing is more fun. It can get to be work, but it's not always that way. So for me, being able to sit down somewhere and whip up my iPad and be able to edit is something that I actually enjoy. But I understand that point of view, Frank. I absolutely understand that. Let's see. This weekend I shot and did a rough edit on this week's YouTube video. Awesome. Harley, what was the topic on that? Today I actually shot and edited 2 videos. I was literally, up until I hit start on this stream tonight, was working on the second video, trying to finish it up. So I'm not quite done with, I need to make the custom thumbnail and whatever, but the videos themselves are actually fully recorded and fully edited and ready to go. Let's see. I did not edit any photos, but spent some time with people. That was good. Got a new camera today. Ooh, Frank, what's the new camera? Come on, spill the beans. What's the new camera? You got to tell us. Tell us the camera. Tell us the camera. I want to know. Today's photo share was for the video. Awesome, Harley. Okay, I'm looking forward to that. Mike, you're going to Yellowstone. That's awesome. Amanda's fighting a 16-month-old that figured out how to take his diaper off. Okay, Amanda, that immediately makes me think of something. I've got to bring this up because I love this. Okay, where is it? Let me find my memes folder. Do I not have it in my memes folder? How do I not have this in my memes folder? Oh my God. Okay, I gotta find this because this just makes me laugh every time I think of kids in diapers. Let's see. Hey, Drew, how's it going, bud? Trying not to get struck by lightning, right? It's crazy storms. Okay. Baby diaper poop everywhere. I gotta find this image. This is super amazing live content right here as I do this. I can't find it. Dang it. I swear to God I saved this on my phone because it makes me laugh every time I see it. I'm going to have to find it later. But Diana, I can only imagine fighting a baby who knows how to take off their diaper. That's crazy. Ooh, Frank, you got the D500. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's a fantastic, fantastic camera. And with a DX31.8. Very, very nice. Elaine says, editing on the iPad is wonderful, and with Lightroom Cloud, you have always a backup. Yes, I like that aspect of it too. Really great on holiday. Isn't it awesome? However, I took a risk by not having my SSD and MacBook with me to make extra backup. Yeah, it is a little bit of a risk. What I do is I have, now this obviously is dependent upon internet connectivity, right? But I do have my iPad. Of course, Lightroom syncs it up to the cloud, and then on my main computer here, I have it set so that it doesn't sleep. My iMac is kind of like a server as well, so it never fully sleeps. And I want that because I want Lightroom to always be grabbing my photos from my iPad and syncing them no matter where I am, as long as I'm internet connected, and then taking those photos and making that extra backup of them on a nightly basis. So again, that's internet connection dependent, but that is a thing that I have in place. Hello, MJ Sasista. Hello, hi, Cyberdoc. How's it going? Hello, Minisla. Duct tape works for sure, right? Duct tape to hold the diapers on. That's hilarious. The kid cannot win. Right. Steve's tired. We were doing some landscaping this weekend and cleaning the vehicles inside and out completely. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. Queue up the cute baby videos on YouTube. We should queue up your guys' photos. So let's do this. Let's do this. Let's look at your photos. Let's get into this. All right. This one is Amanda's. And Amanda said, this is one of my favorite photos of Jimmy Durr trying to break the long jump record at Dennis Anderson's Muddy Motorsports Park. And he says, all his runs end in rolling over. He was not injured. And then she goes on to say, an older photo, but one of my favorites. It was taken with the Rebel T3 in sports mode. This is a great shot. So I love the rollover action that you caught here, Amanda. This is really, really fantastic. Hello, Subvids. How you doing? I dig, again, like when you're capturing these motorsports, you get a lot of that dirt being kicked up, and I love how you're catching that. And I love the way the light's hitting that dirt. It adds a whole lot more atmosphere. And this particular angle is really nice as well because you've got this whole row of spectators. So you can see them seeing this. Everybody's looking at this. Everybody's like part of the scene and in on the action. And I think it makes for a really great and compelling photo. Like the best, I think for me, the best is those light rays. Who said that? Yeah, Amanda said the light beams are my favorite. Mike says I can taste the dust. Yep, exactly. Harley said I love these light rays. And those light rays are absolutely amazing. Coming through the roll cage and everything else like that, that's just really, really cool. So, like, Amanda, this is super fantastic. I really like this shot. You know, this again, and we've talked about this before, these are shots that you take under the given conditions. You can't really do much about certain externalities, like those streamers as an example, right? Like, in a perfect world, those streamers wouldn't be there because they're a little bit distracting, but you know, you could take the time to Photoshop those out. That would be some work too. It would definitely take some effort to Photoshop those out. But, you know, without thinking about that, which is, you know, again, the situation that you are shooting in and what you are given, I love this shot. I think it's great. There's a ton of energy and activity here, and I think it's really, really cool. Yeah, I can just say, ouch. Yeah, you really got the action. It was an on and off rainy day. Okay, so you were able to catch the dust even though it was a rainy day, which is really, really cool. Could crop the right and bottom to move the vehicle a little closer to the third. So maybe something, I mean, I'm doing something super tight. I kind of like that actually, because that really brings the vehicle in and makes the vehicle even more of a focus, and it removes the distractions, right? The distractions being the streamers and that band of sky there. So, you know, coming in like this, I think could make this a nice and strong shot. Harley, I think this suggestion of cropping is a really good idea for this shot. And Amanda, maybe you'll want to go back and give it a try and come in a little bit tighter on it. I like the idea of coming in enough to remove those streamers. And again, it makes the car even more like the truck. Yeah, exactly. It brings a lot more focus on the truck, and it shows us the people that are still spectating, but now we're not looking at that distracting sky and those streamers and whatnot. So I think I'd go for the crop, Amanda. Hello, Cochise. How's it going, bud? All right, so that, Amanda, great photo. Great, great photo. Thank you very much for sharing as usual. Definitely think the crop will help. All right, this is Harley's shot. So this is for Harley's video, he said. Let me take a look here. This says kaleidoscope extinguisher. Actual details are unknown. So the exposure equivalent is approximately ISO 800, 1/50th of a second in f4. And he says, I know my typical video exposure, but not still exposures. So probably closer to ISO 400 at 1/25th of a second. And this is straight out of the camera, except for a global contrast curve adjustment, a little saturation and sharpening. So this was shot with a 77D with an 18 to 55 millimeter kit lens. And it was shot through a kaleidoscope add-on that Harley made, and that will be featured on the upload to Harley's main channel. So Harley, tell us about how you made this kaleidoscope adapter for your lens. That sounds really awesome. All right, I'll start doing tighter crops. Awesome, Amanda. I look forward to seeing that. Oh, Frank, I promised a demonstration of how to upload and share your details. So I'm going to do that real quick here while we're waiting for Harley to tell us a little bit about the video and how he made that attachment. So here's how you upload and share your details for these shows, if you're wondering. And I started, but I need to finish making an instruction page. I have a video that I recorded, but I haven't finished making the page and everything. So at any rate, you go to, it's always the same link. It's always the same link, shp.photo/share. I update that link so that it's always the right link for the show. And then what you do is you upload your photo. So you can upload your photo either using the button, the upload button, and I'm on my iPad, but you can do this from your desktop, or you can actually drag and drop photos right onto the upload area of the window. So uploading is one thing, right? And when you upload, you should be able to see that like there's these little usernames that are randomly assigned to people. Part of the reason I chose this service, this Volafile service, is because it doesn't require anybody to make an account. You can make an account if you want to, but it's not required. And I wanted that because it's just easier for people to be able to come here and share without having to mess around with accounts and stuff. Okay, Amanda, no problem. Have fun with the baby and the diapers. I'm glad we were able to take a look at your photo, and thank you so much for sharing, Amanda. Thank you very, very much. Okay, so back to the sharing here. Got some in my mouth. Bit of broccoli from dinner. Okay, so you're assigned a random username if you don't create an account, which is fine. It doesn't matter what the username is because the username is attached to the file and it's attached to the message. So when I ask for your information, I'm asking for you to share your information in the share room here, in the chat for the share room. And what you do is you come down to the lower left-hand corner where it says chat here and just type your information in there. You don't have to worry about the username, but I do suggest that you include your name or your YouTube handle, however you want to associate it, so that I know who it is. Right, so then you just type your information down here. So like info for the photo goes here, plus my name and whatever else I want to say. And then you just hit enter, and that goes in as a message. And it has a username that is, again, randomly assigned, but it's the same username that's assigned to your photo, so I'm able to easily connect those. So that's how you share the information, and that's how you share a photo. I try to make it as simple as possible. This is the easiest way that I found for people to share photos, because I've tried all kinds of other stuff like uploading to Dropbox or having forums on my website that people submit through and stuff like that. And none of those have ever worked as easy as this has worked. So that's why I use this. No problem, Frank. Happy to do. Hello, Bella JB. How's it going? No problem, Drew. No problem. Yeah, I need to finish making the instructional page for this. Okay, so let me find out what Harley said. So Harley said 3 strips of mirror are hot glued together and then put in a mount that holds the camera and the mirrors in line with each other. Ah, that's super cool. Hey, Mike, how's it going? That's super cool, Harley. So I love that you made this adapter. That's really, really neat. And I love this photo. This is fun because obviously this is an abstract and a more sort of, what would you call it? Abstract artistic photo. And as such, like certain things you have to kind of approach talking about a photo like this in a different way. Compositionally speaking, I love that you centered the sort of clearest point of the fire extinguisher because that gives us an anchor and that sets up this kaleidoscopic view that you're giving us, right? So now everything else is swirling around that based upon the mirror arrangement in this adapter that you made. So, I mean, honestly, I think this is a really cool shot. I love the pop of red that you're getting. That color is really, really beautiful. If anything, I'd maybe go in and, I don't know, obviously because of the nature of the shot, the stuff in there isn't recognizable, which is fine. I have no problem with that. But I'm wondering if it might look just a tiny bit better if some of this stuff here was color corrected a little bit. It has kind of a yellow greenish kind of tint to it. And if you look at like the fire extinguisher label, that looks fairly clean. So I'm thinking the colors that are being caught in these other spaces are the quote unquote true colors. So I wouldn't want to color correct away the red and the white, but if you could tone down that coloring a little bit, I think that'd make the image just a little bit stronger. But that's nitpicking. That really is nitpicking. Outside of that, I think this is a super cool shot, Harley. And I quite honestly love that you made the adapter and this apparatus to do this kaleidoscope. Oh, that makes sense. Of course, the color shift is probably coming from the mirrors. That makes perfect sense. Yep, that makes perfect sense. Okay, let's see here. Cochise Harda, perfect. I'm all about easy except with my women. Okay. Okay. Ooh, Bella JB, you bought Affinity Photo. That is awesome. So question for you, Bella JB. Did you buy it for iPad, desktop, or both? I have it for both, although I actually really only use it. I use it principally on the iPad. I occasionally use it on the desktop, but like 99.99% of the time, I'm all iPad. Hello, the Sure Shannon Show. How are you? And welcome. Okay. Thank you very much, Harley, for sharing your photo. We are going to move on to the next one. And this one here, let me find the information. This is Elaine's photo. And Elaine says, as you know, I was on holiday in the north of Italy, and instead of uploading a photo that I already liked, that we have already liked on Instagram, I uploaded a detail of a waterfall. Waterfalls are photographed a lot, but are not that easy compositionally. That's very true. And he says, so I found out, right? I could upload plenty more different ones. And he says, I chose this minimalistic one and try to capture the detail of the cold, fresh water. So this was a 5-second exposure. It was at f11, ISO 100, and Elaine used a 6-stop neutral density filter to allow for that 5-second exposure during the day. And then the focal length of 37 millimeters, and did some raw editing in Lightroom and cleanup with some dodge and burn and Affinity. So very detailed, and I like that. I think one of my favorite bits of detail here, honestly, is actually these sticks right here. Because these sticks are nice and sharp and crisp, and as such, that's funny, Brian, you're saying that you'd remove that stick? I actually like the stick. But again, that shows the different perspectives. I like the stick because of the detail, because it sticks out. I love the detail of the water. And I think this really tight shot that you chose here, Elaine, coming in really tight, makes this feel really wonderful and really intimate. I like the composition because you have a really nice flow to this, okay? So the principal flow for me comes from this upper left-hand corner, I'm sorry, coming down. But you also have this V shape created by the water coming down from the right as well. So you have the right and the left. And I can see what you're saying, Brian. It can draw your eye and does draw my eye away from the water. But I think part of why I like it is because that V points right to the stick. So to me, it flows because those lines draw me down. Then I see the stick, which is this really interesting bit of detail. But then the water kind of grabs me again, and then I move around through the photo and the flow of the water further. So it's. I get what you're saying, Brian, and you could certainly take it out. And being as it is, you could probably pretty easily Photoshop that part of the stick out if you wanted to do so, Elaine. And that's going to be something that comes as a personal choice in the end, right? So whether or not you want to do so, the more I'm looking at it, the more I'm thinking it might be worth taking this bit out because that sticks out quite a bit. But having the detail here in the shade of the rock, I think I like that bit there. So maybe give a try to just removing this protrusion that comes out and points to the left and see what that looks like and see if you like it better that way or not, Elaine. Because like Brian says, it can be, it does have a distraction element to it. I don't mind it. But the more I'm looking at it now, the more I'm thinking if it was my photo, I would probably edit and remove it out and leave the rest of that detail in there. Exposure-wise, I really like what you've got here, and I love just that bit of grass that you've got up there in the upper part of the shot. That helps open the shot up and let us know that the world exists outside of that, and it doesn't make this feel as tight and as claustrophobic as it could feel if you just had like all rock and all water here. So I think that inclusion of the grass was a really nice choice and a really good bit of composition there. Yeah, Brian says I was talking about that big one. And the more I'm looking at it, like I said, I think the more I'm now leaning towards removing that bit, but leaving the rest of the detail that's sort of in and underneath the rock. Let's see. By the way, I used a platypod tripod. Very useful also for cities. Just Google it. Okay. I'm not familiar with that. Let me look that up real quick. Platypod tripod. I'm going to look at that real quick. Oh, one of those jobs. Yeah, those are really slick. Those are really slick. Shot slightly more to the left, maybe. I'm not sure about that, Minisla. I think like compositionally, I think the framing is pretty good. I don't know, because if you move to the left, this one rock here is going to start to get cut off a little bit more, and I don't know that I'd like that. And I'm not sure what would be opening up to the left there. But if there's a lot more rock to the left, I think that's going to add a lot more weight to that left side of the frame. And that might unbalance the shot in a way that doesn't work as well. But it's hard to say without seeing what's outside of that frame. Very, very nice work, Elaine. Thank you very much for sharing your photo. Appreciate it, as I appreciate all of you guys. Let's see here. Harry says, I shoot a lot of waterfall and come across this often. I usually take them out physically. Yeah, when you can. It's not, it's certainly fine to do so, provided it's not, like you can be at certain parks and there are rules at the parks where you're not supposed to do stuff. And if the park, the park says it's okay, then that's okay. But obviously, if not, you don't want to violate the rules of the park and things like that. But yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Elaine. Let's move on to the next shot. This is Brenda. And Brenda said, I uploaded before and after for my shot. So let's see which one. Okay, I see. So this is the before shot, and then this is the edit, the after shot. And let's see. A water fight broke out in the yard. I put my camera in sport mode and clicked away. I got some fantastic shots. In the original picture, so this is the original picture, and she says, in the original picture, I cropped close. Let's see. I cropped close to focus on Lana's face and avoid a back shot of her target. And then she says, my editing skills are improving. I would absolutely agree with the fact that your editing skills are improving. So if we look at this wide shot, I can see a couple of things that you did in the edit, and I am quite impressed with your skills and how they're developing. So the one thing I am noticing, there are a couple things that I'm noticing in your edit. So first of all, I like what you did compositionally in the crop to really bring the attention on Lana and her face and her excitement there. And having like just a little bit of this person here, her target, in the shot, I think also works pretty well because it gives us a connection with where she's looking and what she's shooting her water at. Without it being too distracting, because as you said, you've got this person here and their back is to the camera, and she is, because she is closer to the camera, she is larger, and because she's larger, she's going to draw more attention, even though you want our attention on Lana. So I think that was a smart move, cropping out like that. Some people may not like this sort of crop where you have just a little bit of that person showing in there. And that's a fair point as well. And these, again, are things that come down to personal choice. I think it's better to have her there, have the arm and elbow there, than to have nothing at all. Because with nothing at all, it just kind of looks like she's squirting the water into the air. And that doesn't really give the context of the story. So that crop, I think, works. Now, yeah, exactly, Harley, exactly. Now, the other thing I want to note is in your editing, it looks like you did some either color correction or white balance adjusting or whatnot. And, okay. Oh, good. We'll take a look at that in just a moment, Elaine. So I think your colors went a little bit yellow-green here. If we go back to the other shot, there's definitely obviously there's a lot of green because of the grass, and that green is going to reflect up onto your subject. So there's going to be some green color cast to the shot in general. And I think that's coming in even stronger with the edit. And I'm not sure if you deliberately added the warmth or not, but I think for me, it's just a touch too warm. And it ended up being a little bit dark. If you look at her clothes, we've lost a good deal of detail in the clothing. You had a lot more detail here. And in your edit, I think in adding the contrast probably, you ended up losing some of those details in the shadow areas. And that darkness makes the shot feel a little bit heavier, and it takes away some of the lightness of the sunshine that you're getting in the other shot. So I think overall, brightening this up would be a better choice as far as the general edit goes. Opening up those shadows to brighten up those shadows, but also brightening up the shot entirely to give it more of that brightness and that airy feeling. Yes, Elaine, that was the other thing I wanted to mention is your editing skills are absolutely improving, Brenda. But the thing that you have to watch out for, right, details you missed. And again, we're all here to learn and grow. So this is the feedback to try to help you guys improve your work. And I know I repeat myself and say this all the time, but I always do want to make a point of letting you guys know that this is never about making you feel bad, and always about trying to help you see where you can improve the work that you're trying to create. So, so Elaine mentioned the cloning effects, and the cloning effects are there because, whoops, I keep going the wrong direction, the person in the background Brenda removed, and I think that was a smart choice. I think cloning her out was a smart choice. The problem, however, is that there's a lot of repetition that's happening. So like if you look here at this section of the grass, you can see quite a bit of repetition happening here. And then if you look also up here in the corner, you can see some repetition of the whatever that particular element was that got caught in the cloning. And then you can also see kind of a softness here from some of the cloning, and the bits of grass that don't look as cloned kind of stand out. So cloning is hard. Harley just said that, and it's absolutely right. Cloning is hard, and it's absolutely better to have larger areas, with softer edges. And with this, I'd almost be inclined to take a big sample. So let's do a quick demo. This is going to be a rough and dirty bit, but I want to give this a shot. So I'm opening this file, I'm going to save it, and then I'm going to take it into Affinity Photo and do just a real quick demonstration of a method that I think might work a bit better than trying to clone everything the way you did, Brenda. And sometimes cloning works better, and sometimes this method that I'm about to show works better. So it varies. While that's loading up, we're going to take a quick look at Elaine's very quick edit that he did, taking out the stick. And yeah, I think that was a good move. Yep, Brent, I think you were right on that. Or Brian, I'm sorry. Brian, I think you were right on that. And Elaine, I think it works really nicely with that stick gone. The other stick's there and the detail is still there, so I really like that. But having that one that was sticking out gone, I think that works out really, really well. Really well. I love this shot even more now because of that. Okay, this is still loading. I gotta let it finish loading. I don't want to get half a file. All right, so we'll come back to your shot, Brenda, because I do want to show that demonstration. So this here is Wayne's photo, and let me find Wayne's photo. Here we go. The river estuary. This is ISO 100, f4 and 1/800th of a second, taken today at an old town of Malden, Essex, UK, using my Panasonic FZ200 with the Lumix lens adapter and an Olympus teleconverter 1.7x. This is a complicated setup. And then I've added before and after attaching the lens so you can see how far I was away. Okay, very interesting. Okay, so this is the before shot that Wayne included to show us how far away he was. And then using the lens and the teleconverter allowed him to frame this shot this close and this tight, which is pretty awesome. So cool clouds, I agree with that. And I like this shot. Just looking at it right now. Compositionally, I like, again, the layerings that I'm seeing here. So you have this bit of road here, and then you have what looks like the sandbar, and then you have some water, and then you have what looks like another sandbar. It might be more water, but there's layering in this shot that I enjoy. And then you get to this background here, and there's a lot going on in this background. So I quite enjoy all of the detail that is back here because there's a lot of visually interesting stuff going on. So I find myself kind of zigzagging through this shot. I think I almost wish this boat wasn't here. Oh yeah, that is definitely a beached boat. Yeah, I kind of wish that boat wasn't there. I keep finding my eye being drawn to it. It's not a terrible thing that it's there because even though my eye keeps going back to the boat, my eye also keeps going back to everything that's happening in the background. And I do like that the boat kind of points you up into the clouds. I'm sounding like a Dalek here. And those clouds are really wonderful, Wayne. I really love the capture of the clouds and the colors. I think one thing I would like to see also is just a little bit of lift. Not a lot. Just a little bit of lifting the shadows in this strip where all of the buildings are, just to brighten it up a tiny bit. Not a lot, just a tiny bit. Because there's a lot of detail there, and there's a little bit of it that's getting lost in the shadows. And again, I'm talking like maybe a half a stop shadow adjustment upward, maybe. Not much more than that. Otherwise, Wayne, I really like this shot. I think it's really, really lovely. The colors, again, the layering and the composition, the way you zigzag back and forth. The tide is at low water, okay. And Cyberdoc said that background could be an entire painting on its own. It's a lovely scene, exactly. This is a beautiful shot, Wayne. I really like your composition here. And I really like the depth of this image. I think it's very, very nice. Very sharp details when zoomed in, exactly, with a teleconverter. It's really quite incredible. Okay, so let me download this original photo here and give this quick demo. So we're going to close that. We're going to open up Affinity Photo, and I'm going to drop my iPad down so I can actually work on it. Yeah, I like how the clouds are open in the middle there too. So I'm going to import from Photos and grab this. And again, this is a rough idea of a way you could do this. So what I would suggest doing, or giving a try to, Brenda, instead of doing all of the cloning work, is doing something like this. So my background layer is selected, and I'm going to grab just like a lasso type tool. Here it is, freehand selection tool. And I'm just going to grab like a big chunk of all of this over here, a great big chunk of this. And what I'm going to do is duplicate that. So if we look at my layers, and if I turn off the bottom layer, I have this great big chunk of grass and ground. Now there are a couple of things in there that we don't want, but for now that's fine. I'm going to turn that background layer back on, and I'm going to go back to my selections, and I'm going to start a new selection. And again, rough. This is just a quick rough, but I am going to just very quickly and roughly select Lana here. So this is not going to be the best selection in the world, but just to give an idea of how you could approach something like this. So selecting, and I'm just using the Magic Wand selection tool for this quick rough in. Not getting super fancy. So we got that. We don't want the woman's leg, so I'm going to take that back out, but get her arm back in. And I'm not going to worry much about her hair and how good a selection I have around her hair, just because that would take too long. And in the interest of time, we're going to skip that. So this is fine, right? Like, let me get the rest of this right here. And again, just to give an approximation of what we're going to do here. Okay, so I have this selection. And what I'm going to do now is save that selection. So let me just quickly go over here and grab that and create a spare channel. And I'm going to deselect for the moment. And what I want to do is take this background chunk that I copied, and I want to try to position it in a way that looks natural. So I'm going to change the opacity temporarily so I can just try to line it up to try to get like the shadows and the light streaks to line up so that everything looks a little bit more natural and realistic as far as like where everything is positioned. And that looks pretty decent. So with that in place, I'm going to change the opacity back to 100. So we can't see Lana anymore now. And now I'm going to bring that selection I had back. And then I'm going to add a mask. And I might add this mask the wrong way, so I might have to do it twice. Yep, I did add it the wrong way. Okay, so add a mask layer. Nope, I did it wrong. Let me invert my selection. I always get that part goofed up. I always get it goofed up. Invert selection, and now let's add that mask layer. Okay, so there, now what I've done very roughly, hey, Noise, how's it going? Is bring this background element in here. Now, there would need to be more work done to blend it in and all of that kind of stuff. But you can see how just pretty quickly, by taking a chunk of the existing background and moving it and then selecting around her, I've removed almost all of the stuff that you want to get rid of. And then what I do, I'm going to deselect that. And again, this is real rough, but then what you could further do is I'm going to work on the mask. And I'm just going to grab the brush tool and I'm going to start hiding the edges with a soft brush to make the transition between everything look a little bit more seamless. And just by doing that, things will look really, really natural compared to what you kind of get when you get a lot of those duplicating artifacts. So that's an idea of how you could go about it. This area here obviously needs some blending work because the color difference is really strong. But with this, and then coming in with the kind of crop that you did, it would be fairly easy to take that sort of approach rather than all of the cloning. Yeah, it's definitely a new skill to try. Basically, the idea is take a chunk of background that matches closely what you want and use it to cover up the stuff you're trying to hide. That's the basic idea, using different selection tools and then having to make some adjustments to blend the colors and the brightness and darkness and things like that. Okay, so let's go back to the photos. Getting ready for work, 8:42 in the morning in Korea. Excellent. It is 6:43 p.m. here, so that means that's 10-hour difference from you in Korea. Okay, that's a difference. So what's on the docket for work today? Whoops, I do not want to time out. I want to abort that. What's on the docket for work today? I'm going to say it wrong. Noise? Am I saying it wrong? I'm saying it wrong. I know I am. I'm sorry. But what's on the docket for work today? Okay, so we looked at Wayne's photo. Excellent, excellent photo again, Wayne. Thank you for sharing yours, as well as you, Brenda. And let's move on to the next shot. Okay, so this photo comes from who? Frike, let me find the information. I know I saw it in here somewhere. Here we go. My first senior portrait I did about a month ago. Did some research and found this pose online and decided to replicate it. This was shot at ISO 100, f1.8, and 1/320th of a second with the Nikon D750. So, Frank, is this one yours? I dig this shot. I really, really like it. Compositionally, like, obviously the 2019 is super strong. And Lewis, why not? It's no. Okay. Okay, no. Got it, Noe. Got it. So ALZ is just an abbreviation for my last name. Excellent, I understand. Okay, cool. So yeah, I did notice that all of her nails aren't yellow, but of course that's that's her particular choice. I like this shot. The one thing that's standing out to me that is a little bit distracting is this really bright white patch here behind her. I wish whatever that is, color correction on the nails. That bright whiteness keeps pulling my eyes and attention. Oh, it's a waterfall. Okay, yep, that makes sense. That waterfall is, for me, it's too bright. And so, like, if you had positioned her and turned her a bit to the left, and then shifted so that that waterfall came out of frame, I think that would make it a much stronger image. And this is already a really strong image. I already really like it. The shallow depth of field play is really cool. I don't know. I do think you said you shot it at f1.8. Yeah, the bokeh is really nice, but I'm wondering if it might. And I'm wondering if you did, Frank, shoot this with a smaller aperture to give us a little bit more depth of field, to put a little bit more detail into her face. Not so much that the background comes in, but a little bit more to show just a little bit of detail in her face. Because I think, obviously, she's going to know it's her. And the people who know her and know this is her photo will know it's her. But the loss of facial features, I think, is something that I'm struggling with a little bit. Yeah, I think I'd like to see a tiny bit more detail in her face. I did add more for the face, but this one came out better overall. Okay, that's cool. Then I respect that, obviously. And I'm glad that you tried that and picked the one that worked best for you. So for me, compositionally, that waterfall, I love the colors. I love the detail on the 2019 and the tassel and her nails. And I love your execution of the shot in general. I just wish that waterfall wasn't there. The other colors are really wonderful. The yellow, the red, the dark shadows, the blacks, her skin tones, everything else looks really, really good. Yeah, okay, so yeah, we're on board with the face and the waterfall. Very nice work, though. Very nice work otherwise. My glasses are so dirty. All right. Thank you very much, Frank. All right, let's take a look at this next photo. Okay, this is Lewis's, and I love what you put in here about this photo. So this picture did not turn out how I wanted, Louis says. I wanted to freeze my son's motion, but the shutter was too slow. This was taken with Luis's phone. The motion somehow makes it feel right. It made me question my obsession with freezing movement and how it's not always the best approach. Hashtag midlife crisis. So, number one, I love the motion. I agree with you. Capturing like 100% sharp all of the time isn't always the right thing to do. Sometimes that energy, that motion, that blur adds so much to a photo. Exactly. Sandy said it. I love the motion in this too. I think it's really great. Obviously, when you're shooting with your phone, depending upon the camera app you might use or whatever, you have limited amounts of control. And depending on the app you use, you can sometimes control the shutter speed. But I'm glad that this came out the way it did. I'm glad that motion came out. I think it makes the image as well. And, you know, I think the only thing for me would be having shot this in a way so that, I'm assuming that's your wife. It was full auto. Hey, no, don't feel dirty. Look, man, do not feel dirty. If I've never made this clear, I want to make it very clear. I do not want anybody to feel shame for shooting in auto. And I know you're joking. But I do want to make it clear. Like, auto is fine. If the camera gives you the results you want when you're shooting in auto, who cares? The important thing is that you know how to take control when things don't work in auto. And, you know, I do shoot manual basically all of the time. I don't think that makes me better than anybody else. That just works for the type of photography that I do. I shoot mostly in the studio. I shoot a lot with my lights. And with that, I want my full control, right? But like anything I do with my phone, I shoot all of that on auto. And, you know, auto is like, there's nothing wrong with auto. So just to be clear for everybody else, and again, I know you're joking, Luis, but just to be clear, auto is totally fine. And I think it makes the shot. So, Luis, I do wish that your wife was either more in the shot with your son or out. Just because here, with Brenda's shot, having that bit of the person cut off worked because it was connected to Lana and the water gun and the water fight. But in this, your wife is clearly walking with you and with your son, but the attention is so much on your son that your wife being partially in the shot is distracting from it a little bit. And so the problem is, Luis says, the problem is whenever I shoot with my phone, it's just me praying that the phone does what I want, right? And I get that, right? Like that's what I'm doing a lot of times. Like I just grab the phone. No, you just finished shooting exclusively with your phone for the last 6 months. And you more than anybody else can probably share a little bit about the vagaries of shooting with a phone, but also how, if you want it, you can get the results and control you need out of a phone. It sometimes depends upon the app that you use, but sometimes it is just, you know, hit the button and pray that you get the shot that you're looking for. But yeah, I love this shot. I love the motion in it. I do wish your wife was either more in or more out. But sometimes when you're just capturing in that moment and you're just going for the shot and you have to react, then that's what you get, and that's fine too, right? I understand that. That's what happens, you know, and that's fine. All right, so let me catch up because we got these. So Elaine had a really good idea for Frank, and this is a really good idea. So go into Affinity and paint a pixel layer, paint on a new pixel layer over the waterfall with a gray or black color, and then change the blending modes. And what that's going to do is bring down the brightness of that waterfall in his shot, and that will make that bright white area less distracting. So definitely play with that. And Frank, I'd love to see the results of your attempts at managing that waterfall a little bit. There are pros who shoot weddings in Aperture Priority. Absolutely. Yep, nothing wrong with that. Harley says, I've seen a couple of new subscriptions, but I don't upload. Okay. Your House of Hacks channel. I'll be watching out for that video. Hey, Ty, how's it going? The motion helps. I think if it was sharp, it would look like he was just standing on one leg. It absolutely would. Let's see here. Yeah, there are apps that you can use to control the photo. The one that I like, I have an iPhone, and the one that I like to use for controlling my brain's not working. My camera is called Moment. So let me bring the app up. It's this one right here, Moment. And I like it because it gives you the control if you want the control, but if you don't want the control, you don't have to have it. So this is the one that I use, and I find it to work out pretty well. My wife sent me a message. I got to look at it because I think there's something wrong. Let's see here. Oh, something else. Okay. All right. So that wasn't what I needed. It's like Procam, where there's many. There's another one called Filmic Pro, which everybody says is like, oh my God, that's an amazing, this is the best app. But I tried Filmic Pro and the interface sucks. Like sucks bad. So I do not recommend Filmic Pro. High level of control, terrible UI. Terrible UI. Luis says, next time I yell at my wife while taking the picture, woman, move. Yeah, that's probably a good way to get a swift kick in the butt from her, right? I do love this shot. Even, you know, I love the motion and energy you captured. It's a beautiful shot. Thank you very much for sharing it. Okay, this here is, I think... I tried Filmic, but yeah, I tried Filmic too, and I was like, this is hot trash. This is hot garbage. Like, ugh. I really like Moment. I think they've done a really nice job of balancing the control and the ease of use. But I'm open to other apps as well. So if you guys know of other manual control apps that you really like, go ahead and drop those in the chat. Okay, let's see. Whose is this? Let's see. Hi-res, Luis Hersey. Okay, I'm looking for the information on this one. Here we go. This is a grosbeak taken this morning in the backyard. Nikon D850 Sigma 125 to 600 millimeter lens. Shutter is 1/100th. ISO of auto. There's auto again, right? The Sigma is temperamental and hunts for focus, but can take pro level under primo conditions. I'll put the link into the chat for that camera app, Harley. Let me grab it real quick. Moment camera app. Here we go, right here. Here's the camera app. You too, Noe. Have a great night. Catch you later. Or a great day. Have a good day at work. I got to catch up on your videos. I haven't been able to watch the last couple lately, but I see them, and I got to get back to them. So there's the camera app, 1/1000th. All right, I love this shot. This is a really nice, beautiful bird shot. That creamy bokeh background is absolutely gorgeous. I love the way you frame the stick coming up. You've got the stick and then the bird curves around with the beak pointing you back in. So you have this wonderful bokeh area here that creates a lot of negative space. And that negative space balances off the bird. And the bird looking into that space really helps balance it even further. So this is a really, really wonderful, wonderful composition. I absolutely agree. Harley agrees. CyberDoc, all of you guys are saying the same thing, and I absolutely agree. The one thing I would say is if you could pull the highlights in on the birds, there's definitely detail here. You can see the lines. Whoops. You can see the lines. And you can see some feather detail, but there's a little bit of loss happening in this area right here, just a little bit. And I'm not sure if you lost the detail there or if you just didn't pull the exposure and or highlights back. But I think pulling that back in would just add enough detail there that wouldn't be quite so hot and take away from the rest of the shot. But that's a small thing. Like, this is a beautiful shot, Mike. I really, really like it. I love the colors. I love the reddish orange of the bird, and then all of that green is just like popping, and there's really nice variation to the green, so there's some interest in the background, so it's not just like solid background color behind. So all in all, like, really, really excellent shot. Like, capturing this kind of a shot is often actually quite difficult, and I like it. I like it quite a bit. I think you did a really nice job. So Ty says, great colors in the bird. In my humble opinion, I would have cropped the right edge to bring the bird closer in with the cool looking background. So you're saying something like this, maybe? I think I like it a little bit wider myself. I think I like the wider kind of shot. If you're talking something like this, yeah, I think I agree. I think I agree with you, Mike. I think I prefer the negative space as well. But this again is where it can come down to taste. And so, Ty, if you prefer it like that, of course, if it was your shot, then you'd pull that crop in. Mike prefers the negative space. I think I also prefer the negative space as well. Yeah, it's a really great shot. Let's see here. Drew said the stock manual mode on my Samsung S9 isn't bad when we're talking about camera apps, but if I am doing things in manual in my phone, I made a major error and left the good camera at home. Yeah, that's sometimes. Here's the thing though, like, I don't always bring a camera with me. I always have my phone with me, but I don't always bring a camera with me. And for me, I like to take my camera when I know I want to shoot, and I like to not take my camera when I know I don't want to shoot, so that I'm not tempted or the camera doesn't become a distraction for me. But that's just me and how I like to handle my camera and how I shoot. That's not how everybody should do it, because taking your camera with you all the time is a great way to capture amazing photos. Drew says, I like how it's just slightly offset from center. Absolutely. And Steve says, glad you caught it from the side. Bird sitting dead center in the image is always a bit odd. Yes, 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 yes. I so wholeheartedly agree with that, and love that this is not composed that way. It's easy, and we fall into that trap often of centering that subject. And this being offset a bit makes it that much more dynamic. Yeah, kind of lucky too, for sure. But it's a little bit of luck, it's a little bit of patience, and it's a little bit of skill. It's all of those things wrapped up together. Sandy says, I was trying some bird photos with a 135 and a crop, so it was like 216, and the bird was a tiny speck in the picture. Yeah, birds, you need length. You need like telephotos and teleconverters and, stupid hundreds and thousands of millimeters of zooms. So shots like this are really impressive. And Mike, I really like what you did here. Very nice work. This is Steve's photo. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Steve says, taken on 4th of July, just took the cameras to take shots of the kids having fun. Nothing great, just capturing moments. So shot on the Z6 with a Tamron 70-200 G2, and it was at 170 millimeters. That was the focal length. It was 1/500th of a second. It was f2.8 and ISO 250. And he says, great moment between Maya and Steven. This is what it's all about right here. And I absolutely agree. Like, that's, it's a candid, fun, great shot of the kids having a ball in the pool. The blue is super intense and really wonderful. I love all of the laughter you've captured, their expressions. I think that's fantastic. It's that moment, and you captured it. You've got shallow depth of field to really set them off from that background. That G2 lens is just, working hard for you. I mean, look at the crispness of the detail. Look at the detail in his hair and the way that's separated from the background. And the same with Maya. That separation is wonderful because it really allows us to focus on them as the subjects. So, like, Steve, you nailed this. This is just fantastic. I wouldn't change anything about it because you got what you wanted to get, which is the kids having a good time, capturing a really special moment in life, and recognizing that these are the moments that really make life what it is, right? Like, we are experiencing something and enjoying it and just being in that moment. So really great work. Really great work, Steve. It's 7 o'clock already. Holy smokes. How far are we through this? Half-ish way? Okay, we're doing all right. Yeah, it's really awesome, Candid. Okay, so while we're halfway through, I'm going to take a brief moment to say hello and thank you for joining. And if you would like to support my videos, these live streams, this channel, the work that I do to try to help all y'all with your photography and sharing the things that I share, it would be tremendously helpful to me. And I appreciate all the support you guys do give me. So you could do that a couple of different ways. One, you can check out merch here at my merch store. It's shp.photo/merch. And you can get some Take Some Damn Photos stickers or a phone case. I got to get myself a phone case, but I'm a little bit afraid to get myself a phone case just because I have this OtterBox on mine, and I'm deathly afraid of trashing my phone because the last phone I had, I went for like 2 years with no case and no damage to my phone. And then in the course of like 4 or 5 months, I trashed my phone 4 different times. So I'm kind of afraid to not use a sturdier case, but I really want to get myself a Take Some Damn Photos phone case. But there's phone cases, there's hoodies, there's coffee mugs, there's all kinds of cool stuff here. And if you didn't want some merch, you could check out my Patreon at, I can't type, patreon.com/Heniadis, where you can become an ongoing supporter and help me grow the channel and make more videos with that ongoing support. And as a patron, you get some cool rewards. And while we're talking about Patreon, I do want to say thank you to all of my patrons. And that includes Elaine and Drew, who are here tonight, and Mike Ozinski was here earlier. I'm not sure if Mike is still here, but I want to say thank you to Mike as well. And then we also have Tim, who is listening and working on the floors, and Michael, and also PM Images. So you guys are amazing, and I appreciate all of your support. And if you can't do financial support, I totally respect and understand and appreciate that as well. And if you can't do that, I appreciate the likes on the videos, subscriptions to my channel, telling people about these live streams and my videos if it would be helpful to them, and basically spreading the word about what I do so that more people can find me and become part of this wonderful thing that we have going on here. So thank you all of you who do support me. I appreciate the heck out of it. Elaine, have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for sharing your photos and for having a good night. Oh, okay, Elaine, I'll tell you guys real quick. I'll spill the beans. So here's what I got going on. Before you go, Elaine, I came up with a little dealy-do. So I have this iPad here that I have the iPad OS beta on. And I have been playing with the beta and the Files app and Lightroom and looking at how we can import our photos into the iPad with iPad OS. And what I have coming is a video showing you how to import photos directly to Lightroom without having to import to the camera roll or anything else like that. And along with that, I have a shortcut that I made that I was going to try selling for cheap, like super cheap, like $1.50, less than $1.50 actually. That helps people automate the importing process of files from their SD cards directly into Lightroom. So if you're interested in that, Elaine, you can go check it out. It's at shp.photo/import. And it is this little Siri shortcut that I made. But it's for iOS 13, for iPad OS 13. So if you're not running iPad OS 13, you can't get to the files on the SD card yet. So I'm trying to get ahead of this and let people know about it while it's in the beta so people are prepared for it. But this is the thing that I was working on today, and that's what I wanted to share. I'm not sure about how we'll do the Instagram accounts yet, Elaine. So let me make myself a note right now. So I don't forget. And this is something that I'll work on figuring out for sharing. So how to share Instagram accounts for Blabs. Okay, it's on my to-do list to look into and figure out. Okay, so that's that. Commercial break is over. Let's get back to the photos. This is Sandy's, whoops. This is Sandy's photo. And let me find the information for Sandy's. Here we go. This was taken at the end of winter, last snowfall in Massachusetts. This was taken with the 5D3, 135 millimeter L lens, 1/500th of a second at f2 and ISO 100. I love this shot. This is gorgeous. That little bit of snow left there is great because it tells exactly that story. We're in the transition. This shot is very bright, and the texture on the trees is really nice. And I really like the colors. I like that this is a little bit muted, that this doesn't have a ton. Good night, Elaine. Thank you very, very much for joining. Yes, PhotoBlab, hashtag PhotoBlab. I'll start looking at that on Instagram so I can see all your guys' photos and check those out. So hashtag PhotoBlab. I like the snow. I like the framing of this because you have, exactly, I can smell the pine crisp in the air. You've got the, I gotta unbutton this coat. There we go. The pine here on the right frames and sets the frame over here. And then again, we have really great negative space over on the other side balancing that out. And it actually kind of fits together like a puzzle piece, almost like an L shape, because you have the vertical of the pine, and then you have these branches that come out below, and then you have the same sort of shape in the background mirroring it. So Sandy says, I think it's straight out of the camera, no edit at all. And I like it like that. I like that it's a little bit hazy, that it's a little bit not flat, because I don't think it's flat, but it's not like super contrasting, super crunchy. I like that it's a little bit subdued. It feels soft, and it feels, even though the pine is prickly, it feels soft and it feels springy, and I like that. You know, I don't think I changed anything. You've got really great texture and detail in the snow there, so you can see that it's not just blown out. So you balance the exposure out here really nicely. And all in all, Sandy, I think you just did a really very nice job of capturing this moment and telling that story of that last snowfall and that snow finally going away and spring coming in and the season changing and transforming. Very nice job, Sandy. Very nice job. Thank you, Spyros. You gave me the push to get Affinity. I'm impressed with it. Okay, thank you, Bella JB. Thank you for joining. I'm going to be making more videos about Affinity on my channel, too, so keep an eye out for those. Yes, thank you very much, Sandy. It's a beautiful photo. Oh, it looks like it doubled up here. Let me see. No, it's not working now. All right, let's get to this next shot. My internet is fighting me now. The snow feels cold here. A nice simple shot of nature. Exactly. Let me try refreshing this page. There we go. We got the cat. This is cute. All right, so this, let me see if I can find the information whose photo this is. Argus. I don't see... Oh, Sonia, this is yours. Okay. This was a wild cat I tried taking up close, but it was not happy. So this is as close as I could get. So it's a Canon Rebel T7i. And it was the... So you shot this in RAW, 1/250th of a second, f8, and did this in Lightroom CC. Next time I will make sure to put the infoverse. No problem. I get that we're all trying to figure this out, and this is great. I agree. Harley, the eyes are super intense. The cat is clearly unhappy, and I like that you captured that in the shot. I also love the color of this image. I'm not sure what you did in Lightroom CC for the colors, Sonia, but I like it. I love the sort of, it's not quite pastel, but it's almost pastel, and I love that. I think we got a little bit of an orange and teal look going on here, and I think I like it quite a bit. It's working really well. Those eyes are super intense. Drew, thank you very much for hanging out. Enjoy your dinner and your evening, and definitely see you on Wednesday. Thank you, Drew. Yeah, I love the color and the toning that you got here. I'm wondering if you shot this. Is this depth of field something that you added? Because it looks like you have detail here in the hair, but then as you go along the back of the cat, we're losing that hair and that detail. So I'm wondering if you blurred that, or if that's just the natural fall off in the depth of field. But it feels a little bit like the blurring was done in Lightroom or something like that. I feel like it makes the cat pop. Yeah, it definitely makes the cat pop, and it does make it look like denim. That small detail of the detail fall off here is the one thing I'm wondering about. But outside of that, Sonia, I love this shot. Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing that slight, that depth of field just feels a little off because you have detail here, but then you lose it there, and it doesn't feel like it should be lost there. So maybe trying to bring a little bit more of that detail back in with your brush work is something that's worth doing. But outside of that, this is a really fun shot, and I love the colors. That's, I think, my favorite thing about this is the way you color graded and toned this image, and the intensity of that cat's eyes and how you captured that, and its attitude is really nice, and I quite like that. Did you shoot this vertically or horizontally? Because this is something that you could consider cropping in a little bit tighter if you wanted to. I know you couldn't get closer because the cat was going to take off. But maybe coming in, not a ton. Like if you come in too tight, you start to lose some of that context you were trying to give. But maybe coming in a little bit tighter with your crop will make it feel even more intimate. Outside of that, though, it's a beautiful shot, Sonia. And again, I love the color grading you did here. Very, very nice. Yeah, I just keep looking at the cat's eyes. Okay, horizontally. Yeah, maybe play with your crop a little bit and see how it turns out. Okay, this is Harry's, and let me find Harry's information here. All righty. The fun part is looking for the different usernames in the chat. Okay, I'm not seeing... Harry, do you have your information on this? If you want to just share that in the chat, that would be great. because I'm just looking to see if I can find it. There we go. Thank you, Harry. Appreciate it. Okay, so 1, 2. That I might have. I'm. Yeah, I'm just missing it in the chat. I knew you were here, Harry. So don't worry about that. So 1/200th f5.6 ISO 100. Just let me give me a moment here to look at it. I'm digging the shot. I kind of wish the angle was down a little bit lower. Did you shoot it up above deliberately, or did that just happen to be how it worked out? I do like the lighting as well, Brian. That's the one thing that's one of the things, not the one thing, but one of the things that I was looking at. I'm just wondering about the angle. I feel, I'm not sure if I like the above angle shooting down. This is this I want to be very, very clear. This I think is more preferential for me. I tend to be a low shooter, and so I gravitate more towards low compositional shots. And I know I personally am not as much of a fan as higher up. So I think I personally would prefer to shoot this low, but I don't think that does not make it a bad shot. So I want to clarify that. I do quite like the incredible amount of texture that you have here, and I love the way you lit this up. I think your lighting is really, really nice in this, Harry. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Get some sleep. I like her pose. I like the flow of the fabric. If you had somebody there, I think it'd be really great to have that fabric up in the air. That would be really cool. But I do like the flow you created with the fabric. And I like the way it kind of flows down and around, and then you flow up into the rock work up above her. That detail is really interesting because I think part of the reason I feel like I want a lower shot is with the angle where we are. What's happening here for me is that rock shelf above her is very heavy, and it's weighing down on this shot a lot. And for me, this upper angle looking down diminishes her in the shot a little bit and emphasizes that rock shelf, making it feel even bigger and heavier. With it shooting low, I think it would give her greater prominence in the shot and diminish how heavy that rock shelf feels above her, almost as if it were crushing down on her. I think that's the problem that I'm having with the angle that we've shot from here. I love the play of textures that you have going here, though. I really like what you did with that. Maybe a tighter crop might work better. Something like this might work better because that gives her greater prominence in the shot, and that diminishes the intensity of that rock shelf, but you still have a great deal of the texture. I think it's worth coming in here and cleaning up like whatever these two things are over here, and even some of the foreground elements, anything that you find, pardon me, excuse me, not bless you, excuse me. Okay, sorry about that. Some of the sticks and leaves and stuff like that, not all of it, but some of it, to just diminish the distractions, I think would also help as well. I think your concept, I think your texture play is really wonderful here, Harry. And I love your lighting. And I think the thing that I'm struggling with most is the composition. Yeah, I don't know that I'd want to go too tight. I think, again, for me, I think I'd prefer a lower angle. But I love the textures you have here. And your lighting is beautiful. And I love what you're trying to do with it. And I think you accomplished that texture play you were looking for very well. Yeah. Thank you, Harry. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. I like it. The thing I'm struggling with, I'm just looking at it and thinking about it more. This one's obviously gotten into my head. Okay, I'm gonna stop. All right, let's take a look at this next photo. Thank you very much, Harry. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so this here is, let me find the info on this one. Here we go. This is Brian Leonard's, and this is one of the supports from the Indian River Inlet Bridge in Lower Delaware. So it was shot at 1/800th of a second f 5.6 and ISO 100 at 55 millimeters. So this is an interesting shot because you have everything pushing you up. Everything is moving in that direction except for this base bit over here in the lower right-hand corner. It's really anchoring. Oh, hold on a second. Harry says, my initial idea was to have her up on the rock shooting up, but the sheet wouldn't work. Ah, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I understand. I understand. Okay. So this is really intense. This one almost makes me a little uncomfortable because that top of the bridge, that end is so abrupt. It just cuts off, boom, right there at the top. And so that's a pretty interesting element and compositional choice here. I think having this corner helps anchor the bridge. So I think that's really important that you included that compositionally. And I love the way it kind of comes up because even though it's anchoring the corner, it's still kind of pushing everything in that upward direction. And those support lines that come out of it are creating a pattern that swings you up as well. So I almost feel like I'm on a swing in this image, swinging back and forth, visually speaking. The blue in this is really nice. There's a great color in the background, but I like that there's enough variation in the cloud that it's not just a plain blue background. There's some contrast in that background, and that helps just give it more context and make it a little bit more interesting. I think you nailed this on exposure, and I think it's successful because it's got me looking at it. And it's very interesting, and it keeps pushing my eyes up, and I keep hitting the edge of that frame and then bouncing back down. So it's a very harsh composition, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I just find it to be a very almost jarring composition for me, and that is unsettling. It's also unsettling because of that angle of that corner piece there. So this is a really interesting composition. Yeah, I like it, Brian. Thank you very much. Let's see here. Vicky says, I love lines. I would like this better if the left bottom corner had the lines coming out of it, but that all depends on what was to the right. Yeah, that's very true. And she says, I find it inspirational. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Okay, we're going to move on to the next shot. Also, I think, just in the interest of time, because it's already 7:22, we're going to shut down the share room and not take any more submissions. Thank you very much, Harley. Just because, oh, we got an update from Harley. Okay, I want to look at this one real quick from Harry. So we're going to go to that one just real quick. Whoops, for comparison, and then we'll come back to. Please ignore this one and check out the other one. Okay, gotcha, Cyberdoc. I will do so. So this is. Harry's adjusted image. So I think the white balance here, the colors need a little. This is more in line what I wanted, but the sheet didn't work. I understand exactly what you're saying. You got a lot more volume out of the sheet in the other shot. I love the texture here, but I understand why you did what you did, and I think the other shot is better. So I like the other one better than this. I understand why you made the choices you did, and I think those in the end were the right choices to make. It's straight out of the camera. Okay, I got that. Totally understand that. Yeah, I think you made the right choice in the end for the shot and in trying to get what you were trying to accomplish. Okay, so skip that shot from Cyberdoc. Let me figure out where we are. And we've got this hook lightning. So let me find out whose shot this is. Let's see here. Hamus. Let me find. Here we go. Okay. That's okay, Ty. Don't worry about it. we can just skip the next one. So this is Ty, and Ty says, I just love taking lightning and storm photos. This was shot at 36 millimeters with an ISO 400 using the Canon 17 to 40 millimeter lens on the Canon 5D Mark III. So this was shot with the bulb setting. Excellent way to shoot lightning. In South Texas, and there was luckily no rain. Took this photo at a gas station near where I live. Nice, very nice. So the lightning here is awesome and is intense. And I'm curious, Ty, did you set this like on your car since you were at a gas station, or do you have a tripod that you keep in the car for situations like this? Because I think you executed this really well. That lightning capture is fantastic. I love the dynamic nature of the clouds. No tripod. Excellent work. Excellent work. The colors, that dark, rich, sort of heavy purple in the sky is really intense and really powerful. The thing that I'm wondering about, I like that you included some foreground, but I think I'd probably just take out like the wrong way signs, because that text and that red color is just enough to distract away from the lightning. I think having foreground is the right choice because it anchors the shot, it gives us context, and it's not just sky with lightning. So that strip of foreground I think is important, and I like that you included it. But this sign in particular, this sign down here in particular, this wrong way sign, just the fact that it's red and it has text, it's pulling that attention away from that lightning. My eye just keeps going to it. So I'd remove that. You could take out this no left turn sign if you wanted to. And this one down here in the corner, you might as well take that one out while you're at it. Leave that strip of foreground otherwise though. And probably this sign here too. Like all the signs that are facing out and catching light, I would remove those to remove that distraction and just let that foreground serve as the context of the shot. Your exposure is bang on, which is great because getting lightning is tough, right? But you did it exactly the right way. You got the camera as steady as you could, no tripod, bravo for that. And then you used bulb mode, and instead of like trying to, oh, lightning, boom, take the shot, basically you use a bulb shot, you wait for the lightning, and then you're done. I would suggest like going in with Photoshop or Affinity Photo or whatever your editor is, and just use like the clone tool or the healing brush tool or something to just take out those signs that are pulling the attention. That's what I'd suggest. I would leave the strip of foreground there because I think it helps anchor the shot, and I think it was the right inclusion. So it was a trigger that you used. This is very nicely done. That lightning is great. Very nice work on this, Ty. I love it. Okay, so that's the double upload. So this here is a lane shot with the stick removed. So this shot, this is pretty intense. Let me find out who this belongs to. This guy, me. So my only concern is that sometimes it looks a bit noisy. Yeah, I mean, we'll go back to that for a second. I could see the noise, and I understand your concern, but I am always of the opinion that it is better to have a shot that is noisy than to have no shot at all, right? So 10 times out of 10, I would take this shot, even though I noticed the noise. I didn't comment on the noise because I don't think the noise really ruins the shot. I don't think it detracts from anything. It's just part of the photo. And what I can see the lightning, I can see the intensity of this storm, I can see all of the important stuff, and the story is there, and everything is just like intense. So for me, like I don't care about noise. Like I just don't give a crap. So other people are more fussy about noise, and that's their choice, but I am always of the opinion that noise is fine, and it's the reality of the world that we live in, and it's the reality of the technology we have, and I'll take that photo because if I want the photo, I want the photo. I learn every time I take these. That's awesome. Like that's the spirit, right? That's what we're trying to do here. Okay, so I'm not sure whose this is, but the detail we have on this, oh, this is Subvid's photo. Excellent. So Subvids was playing around with black and white. And where'd the other details go? Because there were 2 messages in here with the details. And I just had one with the information. Here we go. Yeah, Subvids. So Subvids was playing around with black and white. I guess it was just the one message. This is awesome. Like, I really, really like this shot. This is a super high contrast silhouette style shot. Compositionally, I think it's excellent. This down low looking up, exactly. It feels very powerful. and this is part of the reason I like to shoot low. And this is part of what I was kind of looking for when we were talking about Harry's shot. Is catching that and emphasizing the subject, the main subject, so that in Harry's shot the person has more prominence. But again, I understand why you did what you did, Harry. So I'm not trying to beat the dead horse. Just offering the contrast between this and that for a better understanding. So all that being said, this is excellently done, Subvids. Aim high, shoot low, right? There we go. There we go, Cyberdoc. The high contrast is great. I love that you can see detail in the plant. It's not 100% silhouette. It is silhouetted in general, but there's still enough detail and variance that you can see texture, you can see information, and I like all of that. I think that border that you added on is a nice kind of elegant touch, and honestly, like, I wouldn't change anything about this Subvids. I think you nailed this shot. I think it's really, really well done, and I like it. I like it a lot. I think the one thing I would do, is this bit that's shooting off out here to the left. I'd probably, I think, Photoshop that out. Because to me, it kind of ruins the flow of the rest of it. You've got this, it's almost like arms coming out, but then you have this little bit that kind of jags off to the left, and that's why I think I'd take that out. Outside of that, this is really beautifully done, and I love this as well. Brenda says she loves it. Yep. Frank thought it was a painting. Exactly. Louise says, I love it. I love this. Vicky says it feels so powerful. Yeah, this is a great shot. So, Vicky, you like it in there? I respect that. Again, a lot of these details come down to personal preference, but that's also why I like to try to explain why I think or feel the way I do about a particular photo, so that it's a thing that you guys can look back at and say, okay, I understand this elicited this sort of a response from me or from whomever, and it helps to frame and give you context for the choices that you might make. Beautiful work, Subvids. Beautiful work. Okay, so we got a pano here, and let me find the information on this. This is Nick. This is Nice in France. This was shot with the Fuji X70, 18.5 millimeter lens. This is 3 images stitched together as a panoramic, f5.6 and 1/1000th of a second. This is a great shot. I love the way everything sort of leads and curves you off to the left of the shot. So you start with the wide of the city, you have the beach, you have the clouds, and then everything moves off and tapers down to the left edge of the frame. And it's just like you can almost just meander through this shot. There's so much detail going on over here that you can get lost in this if you want. All of these people on the beach and on the boardwalk, that's the word I'm thinking of, boardwalk, which is kind of interesting because there are no cars on the road, and then these buildings, and then the landscape moving off into the background, and again, the clouds. Like, there's just a really ton of really wonderful, beautiful detail in this. And I think compositionally, this is a great panoramic because of that flow, because everything sort of gradually just moves you off to the left, and then it just tapers down to nothing, and boop, it's gone. I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Can I go there? I would like to go there. Great postcard shop. Yep, absolutely, Cyberdoc. It's a great postcard shot. Great photo, Frank says. I agree. Vicky says, I can't stop looking at this landscape. Beautiful. Yep, absolutely. This is a beautiful shot. Very nicely done. Very nice work, Brenda says. I agree. I agree. Okay, this is... I just saw this. All right. Yeah, nice use of the panorama effect. Ty says, I like the colors in it. Great shot. Absolutely. Nice is such a beautiful city. I went there on vacation, told my wife I want to move here, and then found out I couldn't afford it. Yeah, right? That's one of the problems. Ah, this is Vicky's shot. Excellent. Okay. So, shot with the Canon 70D with the Tamron 17 to 400 millimeter lens. It was at aperture f6.3, ISO of 320 and 1/500th of a second. So Vicky was coming back from Milwaukee and got to rest for an hour and watch a crop duster. Unfortunately, my lens was dirty. Photographer problems, right? And I like one of the close-ups better. You can see the pilot plain as day, but this one shows the crop dusting better. And then she goes on to say that I'm bummed that I missed the shot where he flew between me and the building. It would have been awesome since the plane would have looked huge compared to the building. Oh, I bet it would have. That would be cool. And the photo was taken as the sun was starting to go down. All right. Yeah, this is a really great action shot of the crop dusting. I like that you've got the swoop coming down. I like that you can see the pesticides, coming out of the plane. If we zoom in here, because of the internet and everything, it's going to look a little bit crunchy. But I like that you've got just enough detail of the prop spinning that you can see it there. That's what I wanted to zoom in on. You can see a couple of the prop bits showing, and that's a really important capture there with photos like this. So that's a really nice touch that you have there, Vicky. And I think this works very nicely framed against the trees. I think up against the sky, it would lose a little bit because of the elevation, and the sky would wash out the roundup or whatever it is a little bit. I know this is a farm, but I do find this stuff down here a bit distracting, and I kind of wish that that was taken out. Again, that would be some work in Photoshop, but because of the background and the trees and stuff, it should be fairly easy to use like the healing brush or the content aware brushes to remove most of that. Because I think for me, I keep seeing the plane, but then I keep seeing this stuff down in the right corner, and I don't, and it just keeps pulling my attention away from the plane. Yeah, the plane is flying right at us. Hey, Mike, internet's back. Excellent. I hope you didn't breathe in the stuff for this shot. No kidding, right? Yeah, I think that's the one thing that I would like to see different, Vicky, is just cloning out, removing out the stuff down in the corner. Outside of that, I think you executed this very nicely, and I really like this shot, Vicky. Very nice work. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so let me see. Which one? I think this is the one that we're supposed to look at, right, Cyberdoc? Let me take a quick look here. Back. The happy stick person creative shot, yeah. Okay, this I think is the one. DSC3. Check out DSC3407. Okay, so this is the correct photo. Excellent. All right, so this is Cyberdoc's shot. Let me find the info on this. Whoops, let me jump back down in the chat as well. Botanical Garden. Thank you, Cyberdoc. That made it easy for me. F4, 1/320th of a second. ISO 100. Exposure bias, minus 0.3 stops. 55 millimeters handheld. I love the haze and the fog and the light rays you captured in this. I feel like I'm in Hobbiton here. Which is great. I like the intimacy of this. I feel like I'm in the forest, in the nature. I love the path there. I do wish the path is a little bit blown out over here, so I do wish there was a little bit of detail in the path there. And I'm not sure if that detail's gone. I'm not sure if you shot this in RAW or not. But if you have the RAW and you can, maybe do a bit of highlight recovery. You need help processing this one. Okay. Yeah, so what okay, so if shot in RAW, which you said it is, then right here, this is a great candidate for doing some highlight recovery. So I'm not sure what you're using for your RAW processing, Cyberdoc. I think you said you're using Corel, but I'm pretty sure Corel should have some kind of a highlight slider or recovery slider. Try to use that to pull back those highlights there. And if that works, that's going to make that spot not quite so hot. You want it to be brighter because you are focusing the attention there. So brightness there is good, but it's just yeah, you knew it was blown out, exactly. So that's perfect. Just try to recover that, but don't go too far on the recovery. We want detail, but we want the brightness is what we're looking for here, because it's like we've walked into this beautiful idyllic spot, and that brightness there is almost like our destination. So the composition is great. I love the way you framed with the trees. I love the greenery off on the sides, and the way this whole thing, again, makes me feel like I'm in the forest, in the woods, in Hobbiton, about to go on a bajillion-mile adventure with Smeagol and the Ring and Sauron peeping out at me and all that fun stuff. So how's that for some Lord of the Rings fantasy stuff? One other suggestion, Cyberdoc, this sign right here, take that out as well. This is a recurring theme across tonight and just photos in general, is let your eye roam around your shot and look at the things that pull your eye and break you out of it, right? This sign here breaks the story. The story is you're in the midst of this wooded, idyllic area. It feels untouched by almost anything. The path is there, yes, and that is a man-made element, but that sign, obviously, is a much stronger man-made element. So, yep, you see it. Excellent. Beautiful shot, though, Cyberdoc. It really is. It's a beautiful shot, and I really like this. It's gorgeous. Another thing you could do, again, I'm just looking at it. I wouldn't go too far with this. Just a teeny tiny bit of shadow recovery. Just a tiny bit. To bring just a titch of detail into like the shadows here on the bark of the trees. Not a lot. Just a little bit, just a tiny bit. This is beautiful, though. Thank you very much. Okay, this is Sanjay's photo. Let me find Sanjay's information. Where are we here? Great photo. Didn't notice the sign until you mentioned it. Yeah, it's that you got to let the eye roam and roam and roam and roam. When I'm editing, I'm constantly zooming in and zooming out and zooming back in and zooming out to look at the photo and see what distracts my eye from what I'm trying to see in the shot. So people watching me edit might think I'm crazy because it's like, whoop, whoop, and then I'm moving them, whoop, whoop, right? And then it's like, whoop, whoop, and it's like, God, is this guy on crack, right? But like this, right? Okay. This right here is a perfect example. This is a super tiny detail, okay? Super tiny freaking detail. But do you see that little bit of hair coming off of the watch band into the black area, right? Do you see it? Because I see it. And that catches my eye, and it breaks me out of the shot. And if this is a product shot, that's got to be gone. And this very much looks like a product shot. Now, I don't know if it was a product shot as a job. I'm not sure if Sanjay's here with us right now. But like for a product shot, that would need to be gone. Goldschlager and a Swiss watch, right? So that's like what I do when I'm editing. Here's another spot, right? You see that little sort of pinkish spot right there? And I'm not picking on Sanjay here. I'm not trying to pick on Sanjay. Just showing you what you can see when you change your perspective on the shot. Zoom in, do some work, zoom out, do some work. Zoom in, do some work. Look at what you can see. And the reason I zoom in and out is because sometimes you see something when you zoom in, but when you zoom out, it doesn't matter because it's so small it doesn't matter. But sometimes it's not, right? So like that hair, I can see that hair. And that hair is something that you would want to remove out. So that's the idea behind zooming in and out and letting your eye just roam around and see what it sees and see what distracts. Sanjay, you are here. Excellent. So just your gifted watch. It's a beautiful watch. And it is a beautiful shot. I love the way you lit this. I love the way you managed the reflections. You've got a beautiful highlight on the face of the watch. So you're seeing all of this beautiful, rich detail here in the watch. You've got this shine on the ring of it. You can see the numbers around. Then you can see the dials on the face. All of this stuff is really nice. I love the highlights and shadows like on the dial here and on the watch band itself. So all of this stuff is really nice. Bottom of the watch on the right seems to be sinking. Yeah, it's sinking a little bit into the cloth or the fabric, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing for the shot. But I do see what you're saying there. Yeah, I think it's a beautiful product shot. The clock face is very, very cool. And Sanjay, I think you did a very nice job. And you know, in the interest of what I was saying, I would definitely go in and clone out like those little hairs and, you know, take care of like that little pink spot right there. And like there's some dirt spots here. And again, you know, that's like the stuff that you just keep an eye out for as you're editing and then you pick up. So the funny thing is like when I edit, I sometimes end up with like 2 or 3 cleanup layers because I take an image into Affinity and I do, the very first thing I do is cleanup, which is just looking for, you know, dust, dirt, hairs, blemishes, whatever, and removing all of that stuff, right? So I do that process I just explained, in, out, clean up, in, out. And then I look at it and I'm like, okay, this looks good. I'm gonna move on. And then I move on and I'm doing more work, like I'm dodging and burning or I'm doing skin softening or whatever else. And then I zoom in on a spot and I'm like, shit, I missed this thing. And I'm not gonna undo everything that I did just to do that cleanup on the same cleanup layer. So I add a new cleanup layer to clean up like 2 spots that I find. And then I continue on with the rest of the work that I was doing. So that's what happens with me when I'm editing quite a bit. Sanjay, this is a really gorgeous shot. Again, I love your lighting. I like the backdrop of the glass and the sparkle of it. It works out really well. And I think you executed this beautifully. Just look at those tiny details and do a little bit more cleanup on them, and you're going to have like beautiful, beautiful Supremo shot. Very nice work. Okay. I don't believe whoever uploaded this, it reminds me of New Year's, shared any information about this. And I definitely was trying to make clear that I want information with these photos. So I'm just taking another quick look to see if I'm missing it. It's heavy. Oh, Wayne, it's yours. Okay, excellent. All right, Wayne, give me some details, Wayne. Oh, here it is. I see it. I found it. Don't worry. I found it, Wayne. I found it. Yep. Okay. Please don't take the first one. Okay, so the second one here. This was taken... Is this the right one? Let me make sure it's the right one. This is the right one. All right. So, background. This was in Algarve last week. The buildings by the marina. This was shot with the D750 with the 24-120 f4 lens at f7.1 and 1/1000th of a second. This is gorgeous. I love the colors of this. This is just amazing. Like this is a little bit like that panoramic, but this one is harsher is the wrong word, but it's the word that's coming to mind right now. It's more aggressive than the panoramic because that panoramic kind of gently swept off to the left gradually. Whereas this one kind of zooms, but it works also because these colors are so vibrant and so bright and almost a little chaotic that stronger energy, that diagonal that rips you through the shot is more appropriate rather than kind of a slow meandering, kind of tapering, soft transition. So these colors are gorgeous. I would almost... yeah, the colors are very cool. Wayne, I'd say maybe just again, like these are tiny tweaks. I'd maybe take the vibrance and the saturation up just a little bit. Not a ton, just a little bit to give those colors in the building a little bit of an extra pop and a little bit of extra vibrance. The other thing I would suggest doing is coming up here and getting rid of that jet stream in this shot here. Just because that jet stream is going in exactly the opposite direction that everything else is going. And it's a tiny thing up in the sky, but it definitely grabs my attention and pushes me this way rather than this way, which is the way that we want to go through the shot. Didn't notice it, right? Yeah, that's the thing. Like these small details, you kind of have to train your eye to look for those things. So I like this shot, Wayne. I love the colors in it. The exposure is really nice. I think I'd also maybe just adjust the crop a tiny bit to remove these people down here in the corner. Just because they're people, and the people are going to pull the attention away from the real subject you're trying to show us here, which is the buildings. So it's not much, just bringing it up enough to remove them from the scene. Yeah, I think so. It's tough, though, because if you bring it up, you're going to lose the grass, and the grass creates a nice bottom boundary on this. So it's a tough call as to whether or not, but I think it's worth losing that boundary to get rid of the people, because now that I've seen the people, I can't unsee them. And my eye just keeps going down there rather than looking at these wonderful buildings. Yeah, that first shot, that's the kind of color that I'd like to see in this shot right here. Here, it's a little bit more overcast, so the colors are a tiny bit more subdued, but here the light is way more direct, so you're getting that really vibrant, beautiful pop of color. And the detail on this shot is really beautiful, Wayne, by the way. Yeah, it is a dilemma. It's always a dilemma. So give it a try and let me know how it turns out for you, Wayne, and what you decide works better with or without the crop. All right. This is our last photo of the evening. The people are not distracting for me. I don't mind them. If you bump up the color, that might help with diverting attention from the people. That's a really good point too, Frank. Is that addition of the color would definitely help keep the attention on the buildings and away from the people. So this is Minisla's, and Minisla shot this with the D5200 and the 18 to 55 millimeter kit lens. I thought the shapes of the sails and background have similarities, plus maybe the guy in the boat was thinking about along the same lines. Need to work on resolution. So resolution-wise, what happened resolution-wise? Like, did you crop this down to this point? Or do you mean just like resolution as far as like exporting the photo out of whatever editing software you're using? Give me some details, Minisla, and we can try to work on the resolution situation for you. I know that this particular version you sent me is a small image, but how it became small is what we need to figure out. So I like the mirroring that you captured here. The shape of the sails and then the shape of the cranes and the construction material in the background, creating both of those triangular shapes. And triangles are really strong shapes. So you have like a lot of repetition here, right? You have sail number 1 and then sail number 2, but you also have triangle 1, which is big, and 2 small triangle shots. 2 small triangles in the sails, right? But then if we come back here, you have the same thing, right? You have 1 big triangle created by the 2 cranes overlapping, but then you have 2 smaller triangles within them. So you have like a really strong pattern mirroring going on here that I love in this shot, Minisla. I love it. Exporting the file from Instagram. So are you taking this photo with the Instagram camera? Or are you taking it with your cell phone camera, with the Instagram camera, or a different camera, and then uploading it to Instagram and then saving it from Instagram to send here? Give me some more details there. Okay, so the mirroring is strong. Another thing that's strong is that V in the background in that building is an upside down triangle. So you've got another triangle in here, which is really cool. So I love that symmetry that you captured. And the fact that that guy is looking up at that just makes that even stronger. So that's all really wonderful. Framing wise, I like that you added this expanse of the water in front. I think that helps the shot feel more open. And I'm wondering, yeah, I think I might actually crop it in. I wouldn't want to go too tight, but I think that makes what you were trying to show, which is the mirroring of these shapes, even more prominent. Yeah, the guy does also form a triangle, Harry. That's a really excellent point. So there's another one there. There's a lot of triangles here if you really let your eye start going for them. I think I'd come in on a crop a little bit like this. because it's going to make everything that you're trying to show even more prominent, and I like that. That expanse does work nice, but it's not adding to the story that you're trying to tell, which is of these shapes in there. So that's why I'd suggest going with the crop. I like the water uncropped because of the mirroring of the sail. Another triangle. That's a good point. That's a very good point. I hadn't really looked at that. That's a really good point, Frank. So you could go either way with this one. I think adding a tiny bit of contrast would work on this too. Not a ton, just a tiny bit. A lot of this stuff is doing things in small degrees and making small changes. And I'd go in here, again, as I look and I notice things, I'd go in here and whatever this pole is coming out of the water, I'd definitely remove that as well. That doesn't need to be there. It's not adding anything, and it is distracting me from the shot. Outside of that, this is a really very nice photo. I like it, Minisla, and I like what you were trying to capture, and I think you did capture it well. Telling that story, those triangles and those shapes and all of that mirroring, it's really powerful, really intense. Foiled by the Spyros zoom, right. All right, so on that note, we're going to wrap this up. I don't even remember. Hold on a second, guys. Do you guys remember? I think it's reflections for next week, isn't it? I got to look, though, and make sure. Let me go here, and it is reflections. So reflections next week. That's what we got. That's what we need to see from you guys. I'm excited to see your reflection photos. I think those photos are going to be awesome. Thank you very much, Cyberdoc. So before we go, real quick, just want to say one more time, if you would like to support the show, I would be greatly indebted to you for that support. I would really, really appreciate it. So we have my merch store, shp.photo/merch. You can hop over there. You can pick up some t-shirts. You could pick up a phone case or a coffee mug, or the best, probably the best, the hoodie. I love the hoodie. I love my hoodie. You want a hoodie? Now's not hoodie season, right? I get it. But if you want a hoodie for winter, you should get a hoodie. And if you don't want some merch, but you do want to help and support, you can hop over to my Patreon at patreon.com/Heniadis, where you can join as a patron, become an ongoing supporter, and help me make these videos, do these live streams, and keep this channel running. And if you can't do financial support, which again, I totally understand, then helping me by sharing my videos, letting people know about these live streams, sharing my channel, that also is a tremendous and wonderful help, and I appreciate it very much. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate my patrons, and I want to say thank you to you all for coming and hanging out with me. It was a great show. We had some great photos, and yeah, we'll see you guys Wednesday. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week. One last thing is just a reminder, this Friday there will be no live stream because I will be driving. I'll be on my way to Michigan for a convention. So no live stream this Friday, but we are on for the Business Wind-Up with Zara on Wednesday. So thank you very much, everybody. Hit that thumbs up, like this video, subscribe to my channel, do all that stuff, but the most important thing is to get out there and take some damn photos. Bye. Gotta find the buttons. Bye.